name is David Nunheimer, and this is the October 23rd, 2024 meeting of the Barnstable Licensing Authority. With me to my right is Mr. John Flores, the Vice Chair. To his right, Mr. Larry Decker, who is the Clerk. To his right, Nancy Carlson-Lidman, Jessica Silver, and to my left is Erin Logan, Director of Licensing. Congratulations. And to her left is Christopher Kelsey, our officer with the Barnstable Police Department liaison. And to his left, Mr. David Anthony, the Director of Asset Management. The meeting is televised on Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed by the Government Access Channel live stream on the Barnstable's website. The meeting is recorded and broadcast on the town's access channel in accordance with General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20. If anyone else is attempting to record this meeting at this time, they need to let us know. Seeing none. Before we begin, we open up the matter to any public comment on any matter before the board, whether on the agenda or not. Does anyone have anything to offer? Seeing none, Mr. Decker.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to... Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the minutes of September 25th, 2024.
Hold it.
Second.
We're going to table those.
Okay.
All right. New business. The following applications have been submitted. If I go around a little bit, the first application has been filed by MCRH Hyannis LLC, DBA The Roadhouse, 488 South Street, Hyannis, to amend the daily live entertainment license to include up to 5 live performers, including vocals. Current hours for daily live entertainment are daily from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Mr. Lawler.
Good morning, everyone. David Lawler on behalf of the Roadhouse. This was probably something that slipped through the cracks on the original application. We had a piano. This is just the Roadhouse for forever has done the, I think it's Tuesday or Monday jazz, and that's really what this is intended for. I asked the amount of pieces. I don't think we'll very rarely get up to that many pieces just because of size, but once in a blue moon, you might have a guest jazz band come in. Generally, it's during the week. They have that in the small room there where when you walk in on the left as opposed to the main entrance, right before you get to the bar, that's the jazz room. There was some confusion. I, quite frankly, didn't realize they did jazz, and I think when the initial application had stated that we're going to basically keep it as the way it was, I was unaware that they were doing jazz, but apparently Dave Colombo for years and years and years had done it, and they want to keep that tradition, and you know, you've gone through this whole rigmarole before. I'm not going to speak anymore, and I'll answer any questions if you might have them.
Thank God. Does anyone?
When did they officially open?
They opened about 2 weeks ago. I was away. I missed the soft opening, but I heard it was a great success, and people are loving it, and the food's good, and they're, you know, starting to, you know, get moving. You know, anytime you open up a new restaurant like that, you always have to kind of, even though it's an old restaurant, but it's a new old restaurant, you know, you're working out the kinks, but apparently it's going great, and the reviews have been wonderful, and people are enjoying themselves for dinner, and life's good.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? To my left.
Just before Officer Kelsey speaks, just for the record, there was no entertainment license. Oh, let's start this again. The entertainment license for Colombo's was only for a piano player. They apparently went under the radar without an accurate license. I just want to have that cleared for the record that their Colombo's license had nothing but a piano player.
I didn't want to go there. You know, I have the utmost respect for Dave. I think it was just a foresight that they added jazz and then it took off, and then all of a sudden no one noticed, and they weren't hurting anybody, and it was doing great, and that's what happened. And I think what ultimately, no one, including the owner, because I do know the prior owner, and he's always acted in the most ethical and appropriate manner. So I wasn't on the prior application. That's why when I redid the other application, I didn't realize the Jazz was there. But apparently it had been going on for 20 years with no complaints and no issues and no problems with the police or anything like that.
Officer Kelsey.
If we remember back to the February of 2024 meeting and then also the March of 2024 meeting, we did discuss the entertainment license for this business. The February meeting, we actually did push to the March meeting because the entertainment license was not advertised, and it was made clear that we shouldn't be having that conversation during that meeting. During the March meeting, the application came in just for a piano player, which there was no issues with, and there were no comments made. Backing up to the February meeting, there were several comments made, and I will make them now as we're talking about this. We had a concern with the Roadhouse becoming a nightclub versus a dining, a restaurant with possibly a lounge. And that's where the discussion was going when it was ended. During that conversation, it was made very plain that the application was going to be just for a piano player, maybe a singer. I did bring up the concerns with the possibility of this turning into an entertainment venue where there'd be a DJ, and it was told absolutely no DJs. Mr. Lawler even said, well, we're going to be back here in a couple of weeks. We can make that restriction on the entertainment license if you would like. So going from a piano player to possibly a piano player and a singer to a 5-piece band, I think is a big jump. And I think that those things should be considered, whereas we have 2 apartment complexes across the street on South Street. We do have a hotel across the street on Main Street. We do have an adjacent business, which is right next to the Roadhouse. It's almost connected. I would have a concern with this growing into something that's not just a restaurant with a lounge, but into a nightclub. And those were the concerns that were brought up in February, and I bring those concerns up again today.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions, comments? Mr. Flores?
Yeah, my only issue is that, we're projecting about what-ifs, and my feeling is that if we do approve the Roadhouse to add a maximum of 5 live performers, I'm of the intent to approve it based on future action will be positive, that there won't be any pushback. If there is pushback, I think we as a licensing authority can then move accordingly. The fact that there has been no opposition to this from any of the neighbors, either during public comment or while this was posted, I'm not sure that I want to deny someone something for what might be as opposed to what is.
And again, and if it's going to be operated the way it has in the past 20 years, and I know it's a different operator, but look at what's gone on there for the past 20 years. Obviously, that there should have been an appropriate license pulled, but it was so benign that no one noticed. That's the important thing, and that's what they're trying to do. They want to continue. If you look at the way it's set up, if you look at the menu, if you look at everything, this is really the Roadhouse Part 2. This is really a continuation of what Mr. Colombo had started and worked out to be a phenomenal restaurant, and then things with COVID and everything else came down. And this really is a reboot, so that's all.
If I could, Mr. Flores had brought up at a previous meeting about monitoring sound, and if that's something that could happen, I'd have no problem with this.
Yeah, I don't think there's any.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's done the money. There's been no complaints.
Right.
Obviously, if there's a complaint or something, we'll address it immediately.
Yes, Mr. Officer Kelsey.
So going to the fact that there's been no complaints, it's been open for 2 weeks. I get that. I have a concern, whereas the original request is very different than what they're coming to us today. Going back to the complaints, also in that February 2024 meeting, The operator of the Roadhouse now did identify himself as the manager at Torino's for 8 years, one of the managers at Torino's for 8 years. And under his control, or under his team's control, we've had several complaints about noise. We've had several complaints about pushing timelines on when entertainment is supposed to end. He has come to the licensing authority and actually tried to push a 2 o'clock license when the town of Barnstable only issues 1 o'clock licenses. So that's where the concerns for the police department come from. I will agree with Mr. Flores 100%. There is no track record on the new Roadhouse, and they could very well be great neighbors. They could run an incredible business, and they could follow every single rule. But I guess in my role, I have the responsibility of coming up with the what-ifs.
I mean, and I know this isn't a criminal proceeding, but you're innocent until proven guilty. This is a situation where the police department is asking to put a punishment on someone when nothing's occurred. And when I was referring to there's not been any complaints,
Well,
I was referring to the past 20 years.
Yeah, I don't think he's trying to push anything on anyone. I think he's just highlighting
No,
what could be based on other circumstances. But does anyone from the public wish to speak to this matter? Yes, ma'am. You'd have to come up to this microphone here.
Here you go, ma'am.
If you would, and if you would say your name and.
Yeah. My name's Danielle. I have an elderly family member that lives across the street in the apartment complex. So my concerns were mostly what Officer Kelsey has voiced, as far as the music becoming more of a DJ, attracting more of a partying crowd that may be drinking. If it's open later, the noise, the people being just active later in the neighborhood. And also, the people that are across the street, there's also children. So would this still be limited to 11 o'clock, like you said, that they had requested, like
Yes.
at 2 a.m.? So,
The entertainment would be limited to 11 p.m.
okay.
So
And so you were saying about a 5-piece band would be allowed.
that's what they asked for.
So does that mean like one of the, like, I know sometimes you go to a wedding, there's a band and a DJ. Could they combine that? Does it matter what the 5 people are doing? Because then that could open it up for a DJ being present.
Well, let's try to address that with counsel and the applicant as well. But I appreciate your concerns.
And also, like many of the things you said, I believe that the owners are the Torinos on this property. And like you said, their current business has a different functioning model, and they open later and have more of an entertainment vibe more so than the restaurant. So that would be my concern, that it's going to follow in their previous.
No, I appreciate that, and I would appreciate that if anything were to happen, you would contact the police department to rectify the situation, and if they deem it necessary to bring it here, we would address it.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Flores.
Yeah, I would also suggest, Officer Kelsey did bring up the idea of decibel readings, and I think to use this as sort of a rule of thumb, most people don't realize, a typical vacuum cleaner runs at about 75 decibels, which is loud.
That's why I
in
don't
someone's
vacuum.
house. That's why you don't vacuum? Usually, if it's more than 60 decibels over an extended period of time, it can cause ear problems. So I would suggest that if we approve this, that we are ensured that the Roadhouse keeps the level of the sound to 50 decibels or below. And you can easily measure with your iPhone how loud it is. And I would ask the manager, whomever is on staff at that particular time, to make sure that it's maintained at a level of thereabouts around 50 decibels of sound level. That way there, it's controlled. It's not really going to go across the street. It's reasonable. And again, I'll go back to, we're really discussing the Roadhouse here, not Torino's. So I want to keep them separate. And I don't really want to penalize someone or something for something that hasn't occurred, because it's all based on supposition, which I don't think is really what our role is.
First of all, we absolutely agree and have no problem with, in the restriction, that there will be, and I don't know if it's already in there or not, we indicated in February and we indicate again, with no intention of a DJ. There will be no DJs on the premises, and if you want to put a restriction in the document that says no DJs, we're very comfortable with that. We're not looking for this situation. I just think that respectfully, Mr. Flores, the decibel reading, is if you're 2 feet from the trumpet, it's going to be over 50. If it's a small room, it's intended as jazz. I would ask that we would obviously, we understand that the sound has to be, contained and not go off the premises. We understand that, but we agree to no DJ. We're just looking, again, we're looking for, Monday evening jazz or Tuesday evening jazz, whatever the date was. And that's the real, reason, and continue that tradition. We understand the neighbors and we respect the neighbors. And it seemed like obviously her main concern, because she mentioned it several times, was a DJ. We don't want a DJ, and we're very comfortable with a restriction that says no DJs on the premises. So that, I think, would address the concerns, and I think that, it just doesn't, it's not a nightclub, it's a restaurant. And if, in the modern younger crew, they're not coming out and listening to a saxophone, and a big bass. They're listening to DJs, and that would not attract the crowd, and we don't want that crowd. We close at 11. This is a restaurant that, especially in the wintertime, people talked about, when I found out later, oh yeah, you come out in January and you sit and you listen to some jazz and you have a nice dinner, sit by the fire in the bar, and you can hear it from there and you can hear it there, and that's the situation. That's how the Roadhouse works.
So let me just follow up on one thing. Are we talking about one night a week?
I don't want to, no. I think that's what has traditionally been, but they want the options to, have entertainment for, different
okay.
times.
Does anybody else have any comments, questions? Seeing none. Officer Kelsey.
I just want to make a clarification on something that was said. This is not intended to be punitive by any means. It is an attempt to head off a potential issue, a possible issue. But at the same time, this authority puts restrictions on new businesses all the time. This isn't something that's punitive. It's something that is a matter of how this authority runs. And that's the conversation that I was bringing up. I'm not trying to punish a business that basically has just opened. But I do want to look at the public safety side of this and the neighborhood side of this as well.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak to this? Seeing none.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the application by MCRH Hyannis LLC, DBA Roadhouse Cafe, to have a maximum of 5 live performers, including vocalists, to the entertainment license as submitted, with the assurance that there will be no DJ.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Officer.
Another application has been filed by Blue Moon at 430 Main Street, DBA Blue Moon, 430 Main Street, Hyannis, to amend the daily entertainment license to include dancing by patrons. Current hours of entertainment are 10 a.m. to 12:45 p.m. Is anyone here from the Blue Moon? Come up to the microphone, please, and let us know your name.
Hi, good morning. My name is Aubrey Foster, owner of Blue Moon. Panayotis is my manager.
All right. My name is Panayotis.
All right, so you want to allow dancing by patrons?
Yes.
Going to rock it up. Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Yes. One of the issues that we're commonly faced with is entertainment running too far out so that you still have time to get the patrons out and close by 1 o'clock. So my question to you is, even though you requested 12:45, can we make that the dancing stops at no later than 12:30 or 12 o'clock or whatever you would suggest? We're doing this for your benefit too, because if you have people staying after 1 o'clock, we're going to have problems. So
They do try, but we have it so far under control.
Okay, but can we change that date to 12:30?
Like music
Just
off
the, no, not the, just the dancing
at 12:30.
at 12:30.
Yes, we can.
Everyone agree to that?
Anybody else?
Just a question.
Sure.
This speaks to salsa dancing. Is that the only kind of dancing that goes on here?
It's for now we're like Spanish oriented, so we had problems before with another crowd, so we're not going with that crowd. We have no problem, no issues so far with the Latinos, so we are trying to do salsa and rumba, that type of thing.
You can go and get a little spicy. Does anybody from the public wish to speak to this application? Seeing none, Officer Kelsey?
Okay. Do you intend to keep this strictly inside, or is this going to be outside on the patio as well?
Inside, they could come out and have a drink on the patio, but no dancing on the patio.
Okay, and what about music? Is the music going to be strictly inside or outside on the patio
inside,
as well?
inside.
Okay. Because we did have, I won't say a number, but we had a couple of issues with the music and the volume outside on the patio toward the end of the summer, and I just want to try to make sure that we don't have that issue again.
Okay, definitely.
Okay.
Mrs. Logan?
Chair, just for the record, I did run this by the building commissioner, and I just need to remind you that you have a total occupancy load of 38. So on these nights where you're having dancing, they have agreed that this is not an assembly use, but in no way should the occupancy limits, including employees and entertainers, exceed 38.
Exceed 38.
Okay, just want to make sure you understand
We
that.
are also looking to expand to the other side where the
Aerospace?
museum was.
Yeah.
So if we get through with that, then we'd have considerable space.
Well, if you get through with that, you come back here because we'll have to expand the license to make sure it'll work.
Okay.
Okay? Does anybody else have any questions?
How large is the area you have for dancing right now?
Not very large. It's like she said. It's the space is 38.
That's
38
the
people.
occupancy.
Yeah, so that's why we're looking to expand
Okay.
both the restaurant and space for entertainment.
Great.
Thank you.
Mr. Decker?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the application for the Blue Moon at 430 Main Street, DBA Blue Moon, to amend the daily live entertainment license to include dancing from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Next matter is an application filed by Sam Diego's, Inc., DBA Sam Diego's, 950 Iano Road, Hyannis, to amend the alcohol manager from Robert W. Kershaw to Clark E. Buchanan. Good morning.
Good morning.
You must be Mr. Buchanan.
I am Clark Buchanan.
So, Mr. Buchanan, I know you own the place. Have you run the place before?
I have been involved in running the place for 42 years.
Anybody else have any questions? Anyone from the public wish to speak to this application? Any concerns from my left? Seeing none,
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the application for Sam Diego's, Inc., DBA Sam Diego's, to amend the alcohol manager from Robert W. Kershaw to Clark E. Buchanan as submitted.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Good luck.
much.
Yep. Following applications are for public hearing, an application filed by Pond d'Avignon 2, Inc., DBA Pond d'Avignon Cafe Boulangerie, 10 Wiano Ave, Osterville, for a new annual common victuals license with seating for 6 inside. Proposed hours of operation are daily from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. The matter has been vetted by site plan for parking issues. Mr. Ford.
Good morning. Attorney Jeff Ford here representing the applicant. As indicated, we've applied for a new license. This is going to be for a coffee shop cafe. There's no cooking on the premises. There's going to be 6 seats inside. It's going to be a nice little location for Pont d'Avion. It's going to be, they'll have coffee, croissants, and grab-and-go type sandwiches. We submitted a menu, so I think you have that. The manager is going to be Chloe Adas. She's currently working at the Hyannis location. She's been working with them for quite a few years as a regional manager, and she has a very long history of managing restaurants all over here and in other states. So she's very experienced, and she's already involved with their business in Hyannis. So she will be the manager. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Is it open yet?
Nope, not open yet. We're just finalizing building permits and the septic system. Part of the approval at site plan, it was on an old cesspool. A septic system needed to be put in, so that was a win for the town too. So that's underway, but as soon as all that's hashed out, they'll be in a position to open.
Great. Anybody have any, Mr. Flores?
Will it be the same menu basically as the one at the airport?
A little limited from that, so it's really going to be more of like a cafe coffee shop style. We submitted a menu. They're going to have, I've got one here in front of me, everything. They're going to have, all their croissants and pastries, things like that. They're going to have some cookies and sweets, some scones, and then grab-and-go sandwiches, some of them egg, and some of them like lunchtime, like turkey.
But you won't be selling breakfast or sliced bread like you do at the other one?
It won't be a full bakery, no. You'll be able to get the bakery items, but none of them are being prepared there. So like the croissants and things like that are made off-site. Yep, they won't be made there. No cooking on the site.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? This side? Mrs. Logan? No? Great. Does anyone from the public wish to speak to this application? Seeing none, Mr. Decker.
And Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the application by Payne d'Avion 2, Inc., DBA Payne d'Avion Cafe Bel&Jerry, for a new annual common victor license as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
An application filed by Cape Burgers LLC, DBA Five Guys, 793 Iano Road, Hyannis, for a new annual common victualers license with seating for 70 inside, 9 outside, for a total of 79 seats. Proposed hours of operation are from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Is anyone here from Five Guys? Seeing none, we'll put that off. An application was filed by Boteco do Manolo Hyannis LLC, DBA Boteco do Manolo Hyannis, 1070 Iano Road, Hyannis, for a new annual all-alcohol common victualers license, seating for 232 inside. Proposed alcohol manager is Fabio V. Barboza. Daily live entertainment for 1 live amplified performer. Daily non-live entertainment for 7 TVs and recorded music below conversation level. The proposed hours of alcohol service and entertainment, live and non-live, are daily from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Mr. Lawler.
Good morning again. David Lawler on behalf of Botello de Manolo Hyannis, Inc. Beside me is Fabio Barboza, one of the owners and the intended manager of the restaurant. What we have here is a restaurant going into the old Outback Steakhouse there. I think that's the Festival Plaza, I think. And if you go way back, it was the old drive-in. Oh. Used to, when you were a kid, you could sneak in the back way. But not that I would ever do that, obviously, Mr. Flores. So my client's resume has been attached. He has a tremendous amount of experience in the restaurant business back in Brazil, and operates and runs a large, a relatively substantial construction company here. Has tremendous management skills. We've gone over with him, and he has the book with respect to the rules and regulations of alcohol, and in particular those to be very concerned with respect to service of minors. Chip's trained and serve safes as well, correct?
Bartender license.
Bartender license, yep, has very, experience.
For 10 years
Okay.
over here.
For 10 years. I'm filling me in as I go. This is, if you look at the hours of operation from 11 to 11 is a traditional restaurant. He actually just handed me, the name actually means kind of something similar to this is your own house in Portuguese. This is, served from there. And there's a similar restaurant with a similar theme in Framingham, and he just handed me the menu. And I'm going to come up because it impressed me so much, I wanted to hand it out. And if you look at it, if you look at the menu, I mean, you can see, the type of food and the expertise and the professionalism that goes into this particular business. We're looking, as in the application indicated, 1 live, 7 TV, 1 live amplified, 7 televisions, and then recorded background music with respect to the entertainment. The hours are 11 to 11. I think the application is very complete. My client's experience is significant, and I'll just leave it up to everybody to ask questions or.
So I guess the first question is, how much time is he going to be able to spend there, given that he has a construction company and he's going to be the alcohol manager?
So I think it's gonna be like between February and March.
That's when he's going to open. But we've talked. He expects to be there every day, in the evenings. Well, not most every day on the evenings, obviously his life. But he's a very hardworking individual, and will be there monitoring the situation and making sure that all the rules and regulations with respect to alcohol are followed. This is one of his primary businesses. The construction business is an early morning business. This is an evening business. He's a very hardworking individual, so he doesn't expect to spend a substantial amount of time there in the evenings and during the day, back and forth.
Mr. Flores?
Yeah, it's more than an evening business. The hours are 11 to 11. So someone has to be there during the course of the afternoon to be sure from an alcohol perspective that, things are being run orderly and based on our rules and regulations. And that's one issue. And the second is the seating of 232. Is that all completely inside? There'll be nothing outside?
It's all completely inside.
Completely, and that was the seating that was there with Outback. Mr. Flores, as with any manager, no one can work 7 days a week, 11 to 11. He's there, as the alcohol manager in a supervisory level. He intends to hire professional staff, non-managers, to make sure that the rules and regulations are enforced. The track record in the Framingham restaurant, again, is substantial. And we've gone over the provision. I've gone over at length with him the provisions of his obligations and responsibilities to make sure that in his management capacity, he has, the buck stops with him. And he has his managers under him that are there to enforce the rules and regulations with respect to alcohol and with respect to general running of the business, the point of cash systems, all the other matters that are involved in this business, especially a restaurant that size. And those positions are in place and are ready to go when they, hopefully open early next year.
Are we affiliated with the other restaurants?
Just by name.
Just by name. Does anyone else have?
Mr. Chairman, I wish him the best of luck in going forward with this. However, for our purposes, I would think that we would have to have somebody as a day manager's name for our records. There's a lot of latitude there for between 11 and 11, and I realize he's going to be there, and I think that's good. But there's a lot of circumstances that can present themselves, and for our records, I think we need to know who the daytime manager is.
We can certainly supply you with a list of the managers of the company. I mean, I think legally one quote-unquote alcohol manager is approved, and and virtually every substantial restaurant has more than one manager in addition to the liquor license manager. We are more than happy to provide Aaron Logan, the director, with a list of who the managers are at any given time, and we can certainly update that and provide telephone numbers and things like that. If that's what you would like us to do, we're more than happy to do that.
I think that's appropriate. I would agree with Commissioner Decker that the main concern is that, it's a 12-hour spread, 11 to 11, so we want to just be sure that everything is covered. God forbid there's an issue, an emergency, a concern. You can't be there, obviously, at 11 to 11. Nobody can, I get that, but someone has to be designated.
But I will have minimum 3 managers with me, and they all capacity and all the license and license chips and everything on the plan.
If I may?
All training.
Yeah, we'll provide all that, and if
I'll
you want
train.
their information too and their background, we're more than happy.
you should give it to
I don't think it's required for the license, but we're certainly, as a belt and suspenders approach, we're more than happy to do that.
If I may, how many employees are you expecting to have on board?
Something like between 25 and 28 people.
Thank you.
Anybody from the public wish to speak to this application? Officer Kelsey, anything? Nothing? Mr. Decker?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the application submitted by Boteco do Manolo Hyannis, LLC, DBA Boteco do Manolo Hyannis, for a new annual all-alcohol common vicular and daily live and non-live entertainment licenses as submitted.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come out next winter and enjoy. The menu, like I said, the menu looks great. I'm going to grab that if you don't mind.
Somewhere around.
Oh, they're not going to. They're just going to clog up their file.
It's over there.
There you go. Unless you want it. You want it.
Oh, gosh. I am 100% paperless,
Okay.
99% paperless. Thank you, though.
Thank you so much.
All right. We have received correspondence on behalf of Snarky Inc., DBA Barbie Ann's Restaurant, located at 120 Airport Road, Hyannis. They will be permanently closed effective September 30th of 2024. Mr. Decker?
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the forfeiture of the all-alcohol common vicular license for Snarky Inc., DBA Barbie Ann's Restaurant, effective September 30th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Folks, do you have an issue that we need to discuss? I don't want to leave you sitting in the seats.
No.
Oh.
We're going to be here next month
Oh,
for Four Seas Ice Cream.
oh.
You're doing homework.
Scouting operation. All right. All right, we will have a discussion with regarding to the ending times for live entertainment licenses, which has been a hot topic as of late. Who wants to kick that off? I think Ms. Logan, why don't you lead us down the...
So I think we're going back now to the August meeting where there was a request made just to look at all of specifically the closing times on the entertainment licenses. I believe that was Commissioner, Authority Member Flores. Thank you, Vice Chair. And while I have included data on the spreadsheet for non-live, I thought it was worth, if we're going to pull the information, let's get it all. I have put it all together in a spreadsheet. And, you can look at it yourself, but I think it was pretty eye-opening to me in the sense that I thought there was quite a bit of consistency. And quite frankly, some of the earlier licenses were really requested by the applicant themselves.
Just an observation. I had asked Director of Licensing to put together a spreadsheet, so thank you, because this is well done. This is a lot of work. I appreciate it immensely. And I only request it because as restaurants and bars and other entities come before us, there seems to be a whole panoply of times starting and times opening, and, you know, you go to a lot of other communities where it's just one set time specifically. So I thought it would be interesting just to see how all of our particular establishments line up accordingly, why someone's at 1 a.m. and someone's at 9 p.m., and maybe it was the original licensee that requested it be that way, but I just think it's something that if we ever attempt to codify so that people are all working from the same page, it might make life a lot easier for, I think, the police department, for the licensing board and others involved.
I think, obviously, some of these people that have 1245 licenses, recognizing that they have to get everybody out by 1 o'clock is probably a challenging issue at times, but that's really on them at this point, so.
I guess that was my issue. If you look, some are at 12 a.m., some are at 1 a.m., some are at 12:45, some are at 11 p.m. I think the rule that we have is that all patrons have to be out within an hour of a designated licensee time. Is that correct? No. So
They have to be out by 1.
Or that's the employees, excuse me.
So the way that the law works is going on what the closing time is.
Okay.
So let's just say it's 1 o'clock for general purposes. All drinks would have to be out of people's hands and off the table, off the bar by 1:15.
15 minutes.
All patrons would have to be out of the establishment by 1:30.
Okay.
All employees are supposed to be out of the establishment 1 hour after closing unless they have made notification to the police department.
And that's the same across the board, whether someone closes at 9 o'clock or midnight
So
or whatever?
if it's a 9 o'clock closing, then it's 9:15, 9:30, then 10 o'clock.
Thank you.
But if they have to be, if the bar has to close by 1 o'clock, with the people to be out of there by 1:15,
No, the people, drinks have to be off tables, out of hands, off the bar by 1:15.
okay,
They have to be out of the establishment by
by
1:30.
1:30. Okay, so it still seems that 12:45 is pushing it. If you have people, entertainment, if you have people dancing, if you have any of those things, for them to now try to hurry everybody to finish up your drinks and get out within the next half hour, it presents a problem, which is why I think that we need to tweak it
Oh,
to keep them safe as well as us safe.
not that I'm out that late, but my sense is that given those time restrictions, most establishments are calling it quits a little earlier than 12:45, even though they've asked for a 12:45 license. But I don't know. I don't think it's possible for us to go back and retroactively bring people's licenses backwards. But I do think that one of the things, and it's great for us to be on a committee where we give Ms. Logan extra things to do. But is that operational issue, timing-wise, in the rules and regulations that we give them? Oh, you don't have to answer me if you don't know, but, do you know?
12:45 is in the licensing rules and regs. Some of these 1 a.m.s, and actually that's the, I'm sorry, apologize, that's the alcohol that I'm looking at. But no, it's 12:45 across the board is the latest any entertainment can be.
Right. But do we have the 15 minutes to get the drinks off the table, half an hour to get the people out, and an hour to get the employees out on the rules and regulations?
I believe it's probably covered by just a blanket statement of they have to follow the state law.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I suggest that we be sure to inform people of that? Because you know, being on this commission, I was a little confused in terms of the 15 minutes, the half hour, and the hour, so that there's, you know, so that there's clarity.
Not just clarity, but just notice, I
No,
think, at this
exactly.
point, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Aaron, any change to this would have to be approved by the town council?
Well,
No.
a change to what?
If we changed any dates, times?
Okay, policy would be one thing, so if we're changing policy, no, but if we're actually going to change the rules and regs, we would need to have town council approve that.
So,
So do
I
you mean,
guess-
I just want to clarify it before you, so are you saying that you'd want to put in something that says blanket across the town, alcohol service ends at a certain hour?
no, my suggestion would be going forward, anyone who is already on the list can be grandfathered, but any new cases, we should address it.
As to a cap in the time?
Right.
Okay. Anything else on this matter?
I would say from experience being out there, doing compliance checks, monitoring the bars and the restaurants as they close, I think most of the restaurant operators are dialed in. I think that most of the restaurant operators sort of follow that 12:45 rule of thumb on their own and want to have the people out by 1 o'clock anyway. We do have a handful of operators that are always going to push the limits. And most often it's the same people repeating. But I would say the vast majority are doing it the right way.
Good. Well, that's good to know. All right.
If I may, for the record, under the licensing rules and regs, 501-8, hours of operation, licensees are not permitted to have persons, including employees, on the premises except during the following hours. The hours on the license, except that patrons who already on the premises at closing hour may remain on the premises for up to a half an hour after closing time, provided, however, that no new patrons are admitted after closing time, and that no new drinks are served after closing time, and that no new food is served after closing time.
Right, so we might need to address that at some point, just to be consistent with the law. Okay. We wanted to discuss the spiked drink advisory.
Sure. Thank you. Under our correspondence today, okay, the ABCC is once again issuing a spiked drink advisory that I felt was important enough to just make mention at this public hearing. The information is on the Licensing Authority and the Licensing Division webpage, but it is very clear. It does outline the licensee's responsibilities. This has been forwarded to all of our alcohol license holders via email, and I will see that it gets into the newsletter likely next week, so that folks can see this as well. But it is definitely plastered on the ABCC and in our web pages. So if you have an alcohol license, please be sure to read this, and that's all I have to say with regards to that. And if I may just jump on to the other two
Before you
pieces
move on, Aaron,
Yeah.
have we had any complaints about spiked drinks with, what do they call them, roofies or
I have not, but I'll defer to Officer Kelsey on
Officer
that.
Kelsey? Do you?
In the past, we have had complaints, we've had reports to the police department. Usually, it does happen during the summertime. I can't think of any off the top of my head that have been recent, but we definitely had some this spring leading into early summer that were investigated. The challenging part of that is to be able to prove that it's actually happened. There has to be specific blood tests that are done. And often, the victims either don't report it in a timely manner, or they don't get the medical treatment they need in a timely manner, or they don't request the specific blood tests that they need to be able to identify what has actually been ingested.
Well, everyone would do well to keep their drink in their eyesight at all times.
Serve drinks with covers.
Actually, they sell that.
They do.
A lot of the, not a lot, some of the distributors have actually come out with a plastic seal that can go over the drinks. Some of the bars have actually purchased those, and we're handing those out with the drinks once they were purchased. This is one of those things, luckily, that we haven't seen on a long-standing, consistent basis, but it does come up from time to time.
Just for the record, we've also been notified that the Alcohol Beverage Control Commission has we've received from them a notice of violation for the Deer Hollow Corporation DBA Barnstable Bottle Shop for a violation of Massachusetts General Laws 138, Section 34, for the sale or delivery of alcohol beverage to a person under the age of 21 years. There's one count of those, and then also a notice of violation for KSMP Enterprises, Inc., DBA C Street Food Mart, violation of General Laws 138, Section 34, for sale or delivery of alcohol beverage to a person under the age of 21, and that's 2 counts.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask, where is the Barnstable Bottle Shop?
The what?
The Barnstable Bottle Shop?
The Barnstable Bottle Shop is,
Where's that located?
It's on West Main Street,
It's on West Main?
West Main Street, right across from the grocery store.
oh, okay. Behind B&B Pizza there.
Got it.
Correct.
Thank you.
So I attended both of those hearings virtually, just as an observer. This is in the matter of the state, but both decisions, Officer Kelsey was present as well for Barnstable Bottle Shop, and we expect the state to issue a determination within the next 30 days.
Okay. So, never mind. Mr. Decker, with respect to the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the consent agenda as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any other updates that we need from licensing?
Sure. We are now open for common victular renewals, auto dealers, lodging houses, and then we have a single shooting gallery and a fortune teller license. Those all expire at the end of the year, so I'm calling for those renewals now. We are giving those applicants until November 15th to submit their applications, and then as per usual, starting November 1st, we will be calling for the alcohol license renewals. Though the state puts us on a time limit, so the applicants only have the month of November to get that paperwork and payment in. Reminders will be coming out in the town newsletter for both.
So get them in.
Do most people do it online?
So our applications are 100% online. Anyone who is not necessarily technologically savvy is welcome to come in.
Okay.
Just for the record, I do put my hours on my email signature. I'm always available by phone or email. I do work remotely 2 days a week, but I am happy to come in if it's my day from home and someone needs me. I'm very flexible in that respect. And, ultimately, the applicant needs to sign that application, so I can only take it so far before they will have to get online, sign it, and submit it.
Thank you.
Aaron, next month's meeting is on the day before Thanksgiving.
It's a full week before
It's a full week.
Thanksgiving.
It's a full week before Thanksgiving, so it's going to be on the 20th instead, on the 20th instead of the 27th.
Correct,
And are there going to be 2 meetings in December?
No, so what we have right now, we are going to attempt a single meeting in December. My thought was if we have stragglers that need, annual renewals that need to get on and get heard before January 1, we could potentially organize a quick Zoom meeting for a consent agenda approval. I believe we did that last year. I think it worked pretty well. It pushes folks to get the information in, because quite frankly, 12/31 comes and you're not renewed, you're not operating January 1. So if we feel that this is an issue, if you hear back from your communities and it's not acceptable, we can certainly add a second meeting. But with that being said, important to remember that November and December, those meetings are not on the fourth Wednesday. They are obviously tailored to the holiday season.
And also, since licenses have to be applied for within the month of November, December 18th ought to be plenty good to deal with all of them. If people are doing what they have to do. Can I go back for a minute just to the notices of violation that went to the ABCC? How did those go directly there as opposed to us?
Those were actually investigations conducted by the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission.
That makes sense. Officer Kelsey, any police department updates other than the heat on the second floor?
Of which town building? No, I'm going to hold my comments for now.
Oh, now you can't bait us like that. Okay. Any other matters from the public for this meeting? Mr. Decker?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn to the November 18th meeting,
20th.
20th meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
I will not be here for